406-5555. Jacksonville.
Man, y'all know what time it is. T-Law got the eyes of Lee Van Cleef when he go in that field.
Checks it down underneath. That's a crossing route to Christian Kirk. 30, 25, 20, 15, 10. Christian Kirk to the goal line. Touchdown, Jacksonville.
They made a major mistake when they made T-Law go to the spirit of the sky, to the oracle of the saber-toothed tiger, and the saber-toothed tiger now has the scepter in his hand, and he been to put every critic to rest. Man, last night I done marinated 2 turkeys. I got my cherry wood getting ready for my smoker. Just got off from work, off Pritchard Road. I'm going to bake me 2 Cornish hens. My special recipe, I call it a Mediterranean Cornish hen. I'm going to top it off with my homemade Long Island iced tea. And I'm only going to top it off with 1 red top of Coca-Cola. The Maxwell House coffee will live on forever. Duval!
1010XL 92.5 FM presents Jaguars Today with your hosts Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, and Dylan Denmark.
All right, the boys are back together on Jaguars Today. Not that Tony and I ever went anywhere. Good morning, Tony.
Good morning.
You have a good weekend?
I did.
I had a okay weekend. My wife returned from a trip, which was nice because I actually love my wife. I like to see her. And
with the way they were forcing her to pack on the way, was there any room to bring anything back?
Not much.
Yeah.
No, a few keychains.
I thought about it when you were saying,
nieces.
the limitations they had on what they could take, right? Like how many bags they could bring.
Right.
And I know she was going through the whole thing trying to figure out, all right, how long is it going to take me to get back to even make this trip?
Well, it was a school trip, right? And she was allowed 1 carry-on suitcase and a backpack.
Like when you mentioned, I was like, yeah, is she bringing anything back?
No, and she went to London and Paris for 8 days.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's it. That's all you can
She
pack.
could get a postcard. Like that kind of thing. But
yes.
Not much bigger than that.
Not much. And here's the thing, when we got, my wife doesn't travel a whole lot.
Yeah.
She packed her carry-on and everything, and we're going to take her to the airport, and one of the wheels busted right off. So I'm like, look, here's what you do. It's not like you're dropping a bunch of money on luggage all the time. Get to the airport, buy a better suitcase, and repack it.
Yeah.
Maybe even have a little bit more room in there. So she's got a nice new suitcase for the next time she travels in 10 years from now, something like that. So she's back. What did I tell you last Monday? I never stick to my principles on the NCAA tournament bracket, Tony. I came in Monday, I had one thought. Arkansas would win in the first round and then upset St. John's in round 2.
Yeah.
Then when it comes time to fill out my bracket, I pick with my heart, and I had St. John's moving on. So that was about the end of it for me. And once that game went, I literally did not watch, unless I maybe flipped through for a second, didn't watch any more basketball after that this week. And I played golf yesterday, so that was part of it. Almost sold out from a bunker for the 3rd time in my life. How it didn't go in, I still don't know. I mean, it was rolling like a putt, going for those last few feet, and it was didn't have any heat on it at all. Hit right in the middle of that stick and doinked off 2 feet to the right.
I'm actually, Vandy did what Vandy did on Friday. They only had a 14-point lead at one point in the second half and lost. But,
yes.
That happened, and I had it on
through
the weekend.
Yeah.
And so I did see that I'm the only one in the station bracket contest that had 13 of the 16 Sweet 16 teams.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah. Now, really, the thing that I'm going to be riding in that competition is Michigan State. They need to win at least 2 more games for me to have any kind of chance, I would guess. But I have them in the final. Coming from that side of the bracket. So if they get to that point, I think I'm going to win the competition. Honestly, if they get to that point, it means they're going to be there and Florida isn't, which is going to take down like 80% of the building, right? If they actually do make it to the final.
Who do you have them playing in the final? Duke?
Yeah.
I'm playing Houston.
Yeah.
Houston.
Yeah.
So if Houston wins against Michigan State, that would be my chance. Realistically, I'm out of it. I'm like middle of the pack, but that's always where I'm at in these things.
But that's what I need. I need Michigan State to not lose.
Somebody in our building, Took Georgia to win it all.
Yeah, it's a rough one.
And only has one Final Four team left.
That's rough.
That's one of them. That
I don't even think we have a Georgia fan in this building.
Who are you? Are you a new guy?
I'm a new guy.
Welcome back. How was Vegas?
Man,
come on. Burying the
nice.
lead here.
It was nice, but your boy wants some money, so.
So now we'd have thought, all right, maybe he comes in, he drops a little bit on roulette. By the way, did your anti-Dempsey crowd bet red on roulette?
One of them bet black, and he lost $100.
Well, I didn't say bet 100. Well, they said they were going to bet red. I thought they were going to go against.
I told him after the fact. I told it was our buddy Cameron. I said, "Did you bet red?" He goes, "No, I didn't even play roulette." I was like, "Come on, man."
Look, I based it on Wesley Snipes. I think it was passenger 57. He said always bet on black. Right, so that's what I do. Who picks red on roulette? I don't know. But so you didn't play roulette. You didn't play blackjack at all the whole time you were there. Dylan said he saw a dealer win like 4 hands in a row. He's like, that's it. This ain't the game for me.
I ain't doing it. I ain't losing money.
You ended up playing what in Vegas?
I played craps.
And you won how much money?
I profited $420.
$420.
Nice.
$420, huh? You did.
Yep. First table, 150. Next table, 117. The third table, this dude was rolling dice. I mean, like no other. Had $25 on 8, $25 on 9, and $25 on the pass line. He kept rolling 8 and 9. Had to have been like 9 times in a row.
Wow.
And I was dealing. I was just rolling. He kept rolling and rolling. I kept getting money and money. And,
Craps is an interesting game, right? Because you really you bet on other people doing something a lot, right?
So I was betting on one dude, and that one dude was cashing out.
Whatever. And now how much of that 420? It's such an appropriate number for your generation.
Oh, 100%.
How much of that made it back with you?
Let's see. I won 420 there, and then I lost about 80 at the sports book.
Okay, that's not bad at all.
Yeah.
So you came home with over 300 extra. in your pocket.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Good for you. Didn't buy us breakfast or anything. Nothing like that.
Very
happening.
nice, though. Yeah.
I took the red eye home on Saturday night, right?
Yeah, Saturday night, Sunday morning. Got home at like 11:30 to the Gators play at noon yesterday. I'm like, all right, I'm going to try to stay for the game. No shot.
Gone.
I ate biscuits and gravy. I went somewhere. That bread took me out.
That $300 is burning a hole in my pocket.
Who you talking about? And
some biscuits and gravy.
And I fell asleep from noon to 5 yesterday. I was knocked out. And I wake up, I'm like, dang, Gator game was close.
There is nothing like a good afternoon nap, man. I mean, that's sleep. That's not a nap. That's
so
a
you
sleep.
didn't have to go through any of the drama of the Gator game.
No.
If you had been watching the whole thing, you would have been like just waking up and going, oh, this is kind of close. Like,
here's how I followed the Gator game yesterday.
Yeah.
Ken Brady, who's our sales manager here, and I were playing golf with my lovely bride and her mom, right? And so Ken looks, let's see what the Gator. Gators are losing last I checked. And that's all I heard. And then after the game, I'm like, 77-75. I'm like,
yeah,
so close. It was right there for the Huskies.
Well, they hit the 3 as the game ended. It was 72, and they hit a 3 to make it a 2-point game. Yeah.
Like I said, watch none of it.
Yeah.
That's why you don't take our advice on who to bet in the NCAA tournament pool. Dylan's ahead of the 3 of us in the bracket contest.
He's tied with me, technically.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Okay.
He just got listed first. I think it's alphabetical, though.
I think I'm going to go with Dylan ahead of Tony in the listing there.
Yeah, I went all chalk. So that's how
year to do it.
Like.
Yeah.
It's a year. I am just kicking myself on the Arkansas thing because it's the one thing I had an opinion on.
Right.
And the whole thing. And like the rest of my opinions come from Jay Billis and Gary Parrish and all that stuff. Anyway, all right. So today, obviously, back on the Jaguar front, Dylan Denmark flush with some biscuits and gravy money in his pocket. We'll see how long that lasts. And so the bracket's behind us, Tony, and we're going to refocus on the Jags today. Last week, one of our questions was Travis Hunter versus Mason Graham. What would it come down to? And 63% wanted to go with Travis Hunter. 64, about 64-36, I think was the final result. So still a lot of people are interested in Mason Graham, but about 2/3, 1/3 in favor of Travis Hunter. So started thinking about some of these different scenarios if Hunter is available there, and would that create a trade market? And in fact, I brought something up to you, and I had not seen this. I don't know who Mike Band is. He's a next-gen stats research and analytics guy for NFL.com, so I know what his title is, but I don't know who he is. I'm not familiar with his work. I don't know how accurate he is, but it had this exact scenario play out where both Travis Hunter and Mason Graham are available. It went Cam Ward, number 1, Abdul Carter, 2, Shedeur Sanders at 3, and some interesting intel on him coming out over the weekend. We'll get to that. And then Will Campbell going to the Patriots at 4, much like we suggested last week. If it went with these players and then offensive line of choice to New England, which one would you want? Well, I started thinking about, different scenarios. What would make different teams trade up? And Travis Hunter might make any team trade up. I actually started thinking about this because there's been a lot more push that Shedeur Sanders is going to go top 3. If that's accurate, we'll find out. But could there be a desire for someone to make sure that they get Jackson Dart? Right? Like, if the Jets are sitting there, well, why do they need to jump the Raiders? The Raiders signed Geno Smith. They know the Jags are not going to draft Jackson Dart. What you don't know 100% is if somebody would trade in to Oakland's spot, or I'm sorry, Vegas's spot. I should have that one wrapped up with Dylan's presence here. Vegas Dylan. But in other words, to jump the Jets to get a third quarterback, is that possible? That got me started on it. But in this mock, they have the Jets trading up and taking Travis Hunter. And usually when you see these scenarios play out, the Raiders are always taking Ashton Genty and the Jags get Mason Graham anyway, but they get him with the 7th pick in the draft instead of the 5th pick in the draft. So we thought today we could go into the specifics of that. But what we did, we just try to make it a decision between if the Jets and the Niners were after the Jags pick. And, by the way, both of these deals favor the Jags slightly on the chart to the point where they might have to send like a 6th rounder back to even it out. But it's basically the 7th pick from the Jets and their 3rd rounder, pick 73, is roughly equal to the 5th pick on the old Jimmy Johnson chart. Now, not everybody uses the same chart anymore, whatever, but it's what we have to go on. Or if the Niners come up from 11, the compensation you get is much more significant. It's the 43rd pick. That's 30 picks better, but you're probably out of the Mason Graham sweepstakes. You might be out of the Tet McMillan sweepstakes or several other Jalen Walker and several other guys you might be interested in. So today's Chad and Sandy real estate question of the day, would you rather take a package of the 7th pick and the 73rd pick if the Jags were to trade back, or the 11th pick and the 43rd pick? So much better back-end compensation, but you probably are out of the range of a couple of elite players on the front end.
And I know I won't be able to convince everyone who's going to vote or already has voted in this to do it this way, but I would almost, if you're going to vote the 11 and 43, assume it's because whatever that tier of guys is that you thought you could get, right? Like that trade back, this is what I would be, assume they're gone. Yes. Right? Like, just assume you're not going to get one of the guys that you're targeting. Whatever that next tier of guys is, assume that's what you're trading back into to go get. I'm not saying that that's how it would work in the real world, right? If they made that kind of trade. But
you have to go into it and thinking you're releasing some of your control over the situation.
But don't go into it saying, well, Mason may still be there at 11. No.
Even at 7, right? Yeah. If they come up and get Travis Hunter in that scenario, who's to say that the Raiders don't take Mason Graham or someone trades in and takes Mason Graham in front of the Jags?
Absolutely.
So there's no guarantee by moving back 2 spots that you would still get him, but I think I would feel pretty good about their chances to do it in that scenario. So that's one of the things we'll be getting into today. If you want to talk Jaguar football in all its many forms, we got mock drafts stacked up to the gills here. Some ridiculous, some pretty interesting, as a matter of fact. And what the hell is going on? I've avoided talking about it because I think it's so stupid. But what is going on with all these Trayvon Walker trade rumors and insinuations going on out there? People just think that, here's a guy, we'll pluck him off the Jags, because who doesn't want a back-to-back double-digit sack season player who's young and ascending, other than the Jags, because they clearly wouldn't have any use for this guy, right? I mean, he gets shopped around in some of these deals for the most ridiculously low compensation. So we'll talk about that a little bit today as well. Again, if you want to be a part of it, 641-1010 on the phone lines or on the text line, designed by Lifetime Enclosures. hop in the YouTube virtual studio chat, and you can post thoughts there as well, or on social media at MD_1010XL, at 1010XL Fat Tony, and at 1010XL Denmark.
Vegas, baby, Vegas!
Yeah. Dylan, when's your next trip back to Vegas? Have you had your fill or what?
For this year, I might. Man, the time to go is during March Madness.
Says the Vegas expert who's been there for 2 days total in his life.
I definitely know. No, I want to go. I want to take my brothers eventually at some point in the near future.
All right.
My youngest brother turns 21 next January.
Oh, that'd be a good time to go.
Yeah.
I don't know. Where Bunny Ranch, is that nearby? Is that in Vegas? Is that outside?
I think it's outside of Vegas.
It's outside of Vegas. I don't know. So anyway, all right.
My dad was asking me yesterday about it. That was funny.
So you guys didn't make it over?
Nah, we didn't do much. We just went to the resorts, casinos.
You didn't do much that you're willing to share with the audience.
You know how it goes.
Including me. I got to live through somebody, man, at this stage of my life, Dylan. All right. We are ready to roll, kicking off a fresh week. Tony Smith is here. Dylan Denmark is back. I'm Mike Dempsey, and you're listening to Jaguars Today on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today from the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios of 1010XL. From the first play ball to the final, your home for play-by-play is 1010XL.
This is the Mangler. Years of playing football coupled with lifestyle left my feet mangled with neuropathy. I was experiencing burning, tingling, and numbness. I spoke with 2 foot specialists, and they told me there was no cure. They were wrong. I found Dr. Nate Riddle in Ponte Vedra. After utilizing his neuropathy treatment for only 2 weeks, I noticed a difference in my feet. I was regaining my feeling and balance. If you want relief from nerve pain, call Dr. Nate for a free consultation at Riddle Wellness, 904-395-5598.
Greenlaw Group is for the insured. If you think you have roof damage, call 904-302-7055 today, and they will schedule you a free roof inspection. Trust their law firm to help you fight your insurance when you need it. These storms can cause damage you may not even see yet. Call Greenlaw Group, 302-7055. There's no cost to retain their law firm and no cost to have your roof inspected. They only get paid if you win. Greenlaw Group, for the insured.
Get ready for an unforgettable night of classic rock with legendary vocalist Jeff Tate. Known for his iconic work with Queensryche, Jeff Tate brings his unforgettable sound to the Florida Theater for one night only.
Round-trip journey in your head.
Witness the hit album Operation Mindcrime, performed in its entirety for the final time. Jeff Tate, Operation Mindcrime, April 3rd at Florida Theater. Tickets at floridatheater.com.
Jaguars Today.
You're settled into a Dream Finders Homes Monday.
Need a fast casual option that's healthy, fresh, and delicious? Choose the Great Greek Mediterranean Grill. Gyros, salads, hummus, and more made completely fresh right as you order. Off 210 and St. John's Parkway. The Great Greek Mediterranean Grill.
Homeowners, listen up. It's time to start fresh in 2025. Prosser here, and Loan Pronto is here to help take control of your finances in 2025 by lowering your house payments and consolidating that nagging debt. Did you know that 9 out of 10 borrowers get a better deal by calling Loan Pronto? Right now, Loan Pronto has some of the most competitive offers for refis, debt consolidation, and purchase loans, starting in the low 5s APR. If your current rate is over 6%, don't settle for paying too much. Even if you're in process with another lender, call Loan Pronto now. Lock in at a lower rate today and close in as little as 2 weeks, often with no appraisal. You can even skip your next 2 house payments. It's fast, easy, and hassle-free. Get your personalized Loan Pronto rate quote instantly with no hard credit pull and no upfront fees. Call now, 904-999-1508, or go to loanpronto.com. That's 904-999-1508. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, NMLS consumeraccess.org.
Hi, I'm Sean Monahan from Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach. Since 1977, we've been Jacksonville's local family jeweler with a beautiful selection of fine jewelry and certified diamonds. But we're also Jacksonville's leading buyer of gold and silver and diamonds from the public. Gold has recently hit an all-time high at almost $3,000 per ounce. Pay bills, buy something fun. Now is the time to sell your gold for cash and get top dollar, or trade it in for a new piece and get even more value at Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach.
Get to know
positions and players. The 1010XL Ultimate Draft Guide is brought to you by Blue Haven Pools, the #1 pool builder in Jacksonville. Follow rankings and roundtables as the draft takes shape. Go to 1010XL.com/2025 draft guide to get yours.
Plumbing problem? AC acting up? Septic tank trouble? Don't waste time calling 3 different companies. Just call Duck Rooter. We offer plumbing, septic, and air conditioning services, making it easy for you to work with one trusted company and one simple bill. Every department has highly skilled experts trained for the job. For fast, reliable service from a company that does it all the right way, call 904-862-6769 or visit duckduckrooter.com.
This is Hayes Carline for Kingfish Pest Control. Mosquito season is upon us, but don't let them take over. The secret to a bite-free yard is starting today with Kingfish Pest Control. Their 3-step mosquito defense process stops them before they can spread. Eliminate breeding areas, build a protective barrier around your yard, and monthly treatments to keep them away all season long. The earlier you start, the fewer mosquitoes you'll have to fight. Don't let those suckers ruin your outdoor fun. Call Kingfish Pest Control, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Rick Ballou for Carlson Dental. You know, I've been telling you this for quite some time because it's true. I hate going to the dentist, or at least I used to hate going to the dentist. I had total anxiety, and then I tried sedation, light sedation for cleaning and deep sedation as well for cavities and root canals. Folks, it's an incredible experience. So don't be nervous. Don't be scared. Go to carlsondentalgroup.com. That's carlsondentalgroup.com for all of your dental needs.
Looking for a great place to enjoy some craft creations and soak up some scenery? Fernandina's Mocama Beer Company is a must-see and must-try. Nassau County knows it. Visitors need to find out about it. Mocama means near the big water where the sun is born. And if you visit their tap room in Fernandina Beach, you'll see how they've mastered equal parts precision and art in creating great flavors from IPAs to Pilsners, lagers, and sours, plus plenty more. Mocama.com, Mocama Beer Company. Start an adventure and find them in Fernandina.
You'll always feel good when you send someone a Kuhn Flowers floral or plant arrangement. This is Max Fink with 1010XL, and no matter what the reason, Kuhn Flowers has always come through for me. Order online at kuhnflowers.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
All right, Tony, do we need a joker in Jacksonville other than myself?
Someone to blow up a bank? No.
Yeah, just like agent of chaos. Yeah. No. Do we need an offensive joker position, right? Which refers to, here's the official definition, a hybrid offensive player who can excel in various roles, typically as a running back or tight end with exceptional receiving skills, creating mismatches for defenses. Popularized by Sean Payton. Guess who Sean Payton just signed? Evan Ingram.
Yes, he did.
Right? To maybe be that guy. I feel like we had that guy if we wanted to use him that way, and clearly this brain trust didn't have that
on
vision
that opportunity.
Yeah.
Which makes
me, that's wrong, by the way.
Right, which makes me think that they don't feel like they need that. Right, because if they did feel like that was something that they needed in their offense to make it effective, they had it
for a year.
Right, and it's
at least
that it's not worth giving up on the opportunity for having that for a year if you thought it was going to be important to make your offense effective. If at that price point, it's like, okay, we'll do that, and then we'll figure out whatever the next, whatever that's going to be is going to look like. So as to whether or not they need it, my answer would lean pretty heavily towards no.
Right. I'm not opposed. Like they said, hey, we could envision a player doing this, whether they called it a joker or not, in multiple capacities. Fine. That, we brought you in here to fix it up, change things up, run it the way you see fit. But the release of Evan Ingram seems to indicate that player is not a high priority for the team. You could have at least waited on that if you wanted to and see what the draft brought you. The reason Harold Fannin, I've seen in a couple of recent mock drafts going to the Jaguars, and one of them literally says, and it has them taking the Jags, have taken Fannin at 36 overall, which that's rich for my blood for the tight end position.
Agreed.
Like, it's a pretty deep draft at tight end. I do like Tyler Warren. Like, if the Jags were to take one of the deals we're talking about and trade it back to 11, and they took him, and they picked up the 43rd pick, I'd be all right. I get it. Like he's a do-it-all tight end, and we get a pretty valuable mid-second round pick out of this. Not even mid, like a third of the way into the round.
Yeah.
That'd be fine. But this is funny to me. This is what they say. With Evan Ingram gone, the Jaguars need to address the tight end position. Okay, well, they did sign 2 in free agency, and they do have Brenton Strange, but whatever. Harold Fanta Jr. out of Boston College, an intriguing option because of his ability to function as an oversized slot receiver while also taking snaps out of the backfield. Teams often talk about having a joker in their offense. Fanta fits that role perfectly. Teams often talk about that. Do the Jaguars often talk about that?
Or have they indicated with their actions that they're not concerned about it?
Correct.
Right. Like, it's okay.
Yeah, just weird. I mean, it's hard to argue the production of this guy at BC, and I looked up some of the numbers this morning and honestly was shocked and didn't realize just how hyper productive he was. FBS Division I, right? Football Bowl subdivision, right? I think most people know the difference. It took me several years to remember the difference between FBS and FCS, right? But Harold Fanta Jr. last year caught the most passes of any tight end in FBS history, had the most yards of any tight end in FBS history, was a first-team AP All-American last year. Now, in the bowl game, BC lost to Arkansas State, right? So I didn't watch it. I don't know how good Arkansas State is, what have you. But in that game, my man caught 17 for 213 yards as a tight end.
Yeah.
And had a touchdown in that game. I mean, crazy productive, but does that fit with what the Jags want to do with their offense?
My guess would be no.
Me too.
My guess is if they bring in another tight end in the draft, it's going to be someone of the same kind of profile that they already have here.
Now, that being said, you take him with one of your 4th-round picks?
If he's still there.
Damn.
Yeah.
All right.
I think there is probably a point where the production's going to, all right, we'll figure it out.
At the cost point of the investment and what you're going to pay him.
Right.
Keeping in mind that, they saved $6 million in cap space, but also saved a bunch of cash. Not that I don't think, if you're a GM, are you thinking about the cash outlay? Unless your owner's telling you to think about the cash outlay?
I don't think you're worried about the cash outlay except if it's a player that doesn't match the profile you're looking for. Right? Then it becomes we can do that. He doesn't exactly fit what we wanted the position. The money will be nice to get in our pocket while we're doing this too. That's what makes the Evan Ingram decision make sense from the team perspective.
But
I get it.
Doesn't Gladstone, let's call it James Gladstone's decision, right? It's very comprehensively collaborative. Fine.
Yeah.
But it's his decision. He's deciding more on the cap savings that this is bringing, I would think, right? Like, A, does he fit with what we want to do? It doesn't matter whatever the price point is, does this guy fit? But then it becomes down to, well, am I worried that Shad Khan's got to outlay $13-14 million in cash, or am I worried that we're going to save $6 million against the cap that I can play with? I don't think they sit there and worry about the cash outlay. The Jaguars are not a cash-strapped franchise.
No.
Shad Khan's always splashed the money around. Anyway, the reason, one of the mocks I saw had Fanning coming to the Jags with pick 36. Another one had him come to the Jags with pick 107. That's a huge difference.
Makes way more sense.
Way more sense, right?
Yeah.
And that was
if they did it, I'd be like, huh.
Interesting, right? Because it doesn't quite fit the profile, but at that level of investment, you're feeling a little bit better out of it. That was Chad Ryder, who we had on last week, by the way, from NFL.com. I had him going Mason Graham in the first round with pick 5. No trades for the Jags, and he did a 4-round mock. Maxwell Hairston, the crazy fast corner from Kentucky, at pick 36. I'm not as on board with a corner at that spot. I'd rather have big bodies, but so be it. Not outrageous there. At pick 70, had him going with Landon Jackson, the Arkansas edge rusher. So, again, I like the position that he's checking off for the Jags. Let's see, later on in the round, pick 88, Marquez Sigle, Kansas State safety. I'm not sure how you pronounce his last name. Sigle. Sigle is what I'll go with. on that one. I don't know a whole lot about him, but could the Jags use a safety? Absolutely. Then had him going Fannin in the 4th round, and the last Jaguar pick, who did he have him going with here? At pick 126, Ty Felton, Maryland wide receiver, who fast guy, pretty productive, ran a really good 40. I think he scored 8 or 9, 10 touchdowns, something like that for the Terps last year. 6'1", 183, kind of skinny, 4.37 in the 40. So, that's pretty productive, third-team All-American. Regardless, I think they will address wide receiver at some point. So I thought, Chad Ryder did a reasonable job with it, and Fannin did catch my eye. I'm like, I don't know a whole lot about him when we look him up, and the numbers were eye-popping. It's the other one, Tone, that we've got issues with. We're going to take a time out here and come back into those issues. Particularly, they're leaning into the whole Jags and Trayvon Walker may not be a marriage that lasts very long. Like, why? That's to me, that is so absurd, and people keep asking me about it. What about these rumors? And I'm like, that's all they are. Like, look at the source. I think people are pulling things out of
They don't
thin
even
air.
qualify as rumors.
Right.
Really.
They're more like speculative, hey, this could happen. We do that stuff all the time.
Yeah.
But we don't go and post it and go, hey, man, looks like there's a market building for so-and-so based on what we personally said about that. So I'll get into that and try to figure out where is this all coming from the collective NFL media and hangers-on, because not all these people are like, credentialed media that are talking about it, what have you, but it's out there enough that people are asking me about it, and I'm seeing it pop up, and other people see it apparently, and they're leaning into it like, well, this is a thing now because enough people have said it out loud. Well, that doesn't make it a thing. There are enough people that are saying the earth is flat out there, probably more of them collectively than there are that Trayvon Walker's going to get dealt from the Jacksonville Jaguars anytime soon, and I'm not buying either one of those theories. So we'll take a time out here, come back with more on that. Why do they want to pry Trayvon Walker from our grasp? I think I know why they want to, but why do they think that makes any kind of sense? We'll discuss straight ahead on Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Can you crack the code?
I'm sending you the code.
1010XL.
Isolating his radio.
925.
The clock is ticking.
Get all that?
Jaguars Today from the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios.
Top Dog Tavern is your gathering place for family and friends, offering something for everyone. Want a delicious meal served with a smile? We have you covered. Shareable appetizers, hot and crispy wings, juicy tavern burgers, fresh salads, plus a large craft beer selection. And there is nowhere better to watch all the big games than on our multiple TVs. Enjoy great food, cold drinks, and good times at Top Dog Tavern, located in Bartram Park off Old St. Augustine Road.
Golf lovers, listen up. UF Health Jacksonville is bringing you an exciting day on the greens with their inaugural Golf Classic Friday, April 25th at Amelia River Club. It's your chance to tee up for a cause supporting Northeast Florida's premier academic health center while enjoying a top-notch golf experience. Sponsorships are available. Whether you're looking to showcase your brand or just play a great round of golf for a great cause, now's the time to get involved. Visit ufhealthjacks.org/golf to learn more.
At Performance Painting, we've spent decades protecting commercial properties with durable, long-lasting coatings. And we can bring the same expertise when painting the exterior of your home. With industry-leading materials and a proven process, we extend the life of your home, reducing maintenance costs and preserving its value. Now, for a limited time, save $500 when you hire us to paint your home's exterior. Just mention 1010XL. Go to performance-painting.com to schedule a friendly estimate. Performance Painting. Repair, protect, preserve.
Dreamfinders Homes Monday.
Jaguars Today.
Are you looking for a place to outfit your truck or van? It's Catlin Truck Accessories. For 105 years and 4 generations, Catlin is the name you can count on. This is Keith Catlin, and we know trucks and vans too. From Lear toppers, ladder racks, van shelving, strobe lighting, roll and lock bed covers, and everything in between. If you want quality products and great customer service, there's only one name. It's Catlin.
Who can you count on? Count on Catlin.
For 105 years, you can count on Catlin.
I'm Rick Julius, a partner at Cordell & Cordell. Divorce is more than just a legal process. It's a life-changing event that can impact your future, finances, and your relationship with your children. You've worked hard to build a life that you're proud of, and you deserve a legal partner who will work just as hard to protect it.
Offices in Jacksonville. Schedule an appointment with one of Cordell & Cordell's attorneys. Lisa Cargis, Florida resident partner. Rick Julius, licensed in Pennsylvania only. Online at CordellCordell.com.
Hey folks, Hicken here for Zero Res. You're going to want to beat the spring cleaning rush and call our cleaning heroes at Zero Res. This month, get one room Zero Resified starting at $53. Hey, and take $100 off your air duct cleaning. Don't forget about your air ducts. Your air ducts sort of like the lungs of your home. If they're dirty, your indoor air quality suffers. Visit ZeroResJacksonville.com. Tell them Dan or 1010XL sent you. Spell it forwards or backwards. Zero Res. It's the right way to clean.
Zero Res. The month of March makes us mad.
This is mass madness, you maniacs!
And we love it.
Got a three!
Experience the madness with 1010XL.
Served up hot by Hurricane Grill and Wings and Florida Pest Control.
What does your dream backyard look like? Hey, it's Joe C. and my friends at CSS Fireplaces and Outdoor Living can design an outdoor kitchen layout custom built to your taste and lifestyle. You dream it, they can build it. CSS Fireplaces and Outdoor Living. Visit CSSOutdoor.com.
What Major League Baseball teams have never won a World Series?
When you file a claim with Southern Oak Insurance, we schedule one of our trusted vendors to work directly with you, which means a faster claim resolution. Find out more at southernoak.com.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
There are 5 Major League Baseball teams that have never won a World Series: Colorado, Milwaukee, San Diego, Seattle, and Tampa Bay.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours.
Bueller. Stay cooler with Bueller.
Hey, buddy, you look worried.
Worried? I'm apoplectic!
You're Appa what now?
I'm freaking out, Jason. Stupid water heater crapped out, so I haven't showered since Thursday. I start smelling a little funky, blow my big corporate job interview tomorrow. I'll end up settling for some dead-end career selling spatulas on the internet.
Dude, stay cool.
There's nothing cool about a cold shower, Jason. I mean, I know how that sounds, but...
Bueller Air and Plumbing can get a new water heater installed today. The day you call. You could be smelling fresh again by dinner time.
Wait, you can do that?
Put on these sunglasses. Whoa. Is that cooler?
Oh, yeah.
Well, life moves pretty fast. If you spend much more time smelling like this, you could miss it.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
Youth sports at the YMCA's focus on teamwork, discipline, and building confidence. Our experienced coaches can create a positive and supportive environment where your kids can grow, stay active, and develop a love for sports. Sports like basketball, volleyball, swimming, gymnastics, and even elite skills training. Join the fun and register. Give your kids a chance to be a part of something special. Visit fcymca.org to learn all about youth sports at the Y.
You've got a lot on your plate. The last thing you need is car trouble. At Maxie's Mechanics, we help you keep your cars, trucks, and SUVs running safely. Visit MaxieAutoRepair.com today for honest service, reliable repairs, and peace of mind for you and your family.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, more Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
All right, it's got to stop. All right, you can covet our guy, but you can't have him. All right, and he's not a throw-in in anything. Tony, you're talking about Trayvon Walker, and we've all seen it out there. If you follow along with this kind of stuff, like you and I have seen it, and plenty of folks who are plugged in on social media have seen these speculative moves. Hey, New England could give a third-rounder for Trayvon Walker, because, you know, the Jags are going to have to re-sign him eventually. Yeah, that's what you do. You hopefully do with good players. You re-sign them. And the Patriots could use him, Tony. Well, so could the Jaguars.
Yeah.
Like, are you kidding me? I mean, granted, it's always going to be tough to live up to the number 1 overall pick because the guy got picked right behind you, right, who played the same position. But has Trayvon Walker, outside of that, like as a first-round pick, been a disappointment for this team? I don't think so. And people are just shopping him around willy-nilly. So why don't we get into what's ticking me off with today's 10-10 take?
10-10
take.
Now, Mike Dempsey's 10-10 take is serviced by Ideal Conditions Heating and Air, your go-to local HVAC company, veteran owned and operated.
All right, this is the degree that it's been taken to, Tone. That mock I was talking about earlier actually was done. There's no name on the byline, but it was done over at Pro Football Network. Right? For all I know, they ran their mock draft simulator, and this is what they came up with.
Mm-hmm.
But they took Mason Graham. They're the one that had Harold Fannin Jr., the Bowling Green tight end, at pick 36. And so pick 70, they take Braden Swinson, edge rusher at LSU. I have no problem with that.
No.
As a concept of taking an edge rusher there. Here is the reasoning they gave behind it. The discussion around Trayvon Walker's potential departure has accelerated the need to address the Jaguars' edge position. Let's just take that sentence. So because people are discussing what they would like to see, that has actually accelerated an actual need for the Jaguars? I mean, because James Gladstone, if he hears a lot of people saying you should trade Trayvon Walker for a pile of magic beans,
right,
that's going to make him go, you know what? We better get another edge now because I might accidentally wake up and trade him for those magic beans. I mean, how is the discussion? And by the way, the discussion is a bunch of people throwing stuff at the wall, as far as I'm concerned. Okay? There's no validity to this. This is one of your core building block pieces that you have on this football team is Trayvon Walker. So the first sentence right there accelerated the need to draft the edge position. We already have a need to draft the edge position.
Yes.
We only have 2 guys. So, next sentence. If Walker is destined to depart either this offseason or next, then the Jaguars need a consistent partner opposite Joshua Hines Allen. What do you mean if he's destined to depart? What does that mean? Like there's nothing we can do about it, guys. There's an expiration date on Trayvon Walker. We drafted him, but Tony, by next offseason at the latest, he is destined to depart.
Yeah.
Like the Jags have no say. Like they can't offer him a contract extension, or they can't tie him up with the 5th-year option and a couple of franchise tags after that if they chose to go that route. The 5th-year option being obviously a very economical way of keeping a guy who's been a first-round talent. And then they go on to say Braden Swinson can attack opposing offenses in several different ways, making him a high upside potential replacement for Walker. I'm not saying that Braden Swinson wouldn't be a fine selection, and if you actually were losing a player of that caliber, that he might not be a fine replacement.
Them looking for a third edge is fine.
Right, but they're not looking for a second edge.
No.
Can we agree on that right here? Yeah. I mean, that's they're taking things that are just being bandied about like, hey, maybe this will happen. Hey, maybe that'll happen. Like last year, there was a lot of talk Pittsburgh might trade for Brandon Ayuk, right? Yeah. And there was smoke and there was fire where that smoke was. Yeah. It seems to have been confirmed. Yes, he had an interest. They had an interest. Couldn't agree on compensation with the 49ers and then having to give him the contract and the whole 9 yards. So sometimes some of this stuff gets out there and it's accurate. This, to me, seems like a whole bunch of people keyboard warrioring their way to, hey, this will be a good one. You know what would work for New England? If we could get Trayvon Walker for nothing, and then we can keep our draft capital. We don't have to get an edge rusher early. We'll just give a 3rd-round pick and get this guy who's clearly an ascending player. I just don't understand. I understand the interest in him, but I don't understand how the conversation is being framed at this point, to the point where it's being asked, is he destined to depart this offseason or the next? And the need has been accelerated due to the discussion of this topic.
Yeah, I don't understand the number of people. I can't understand that the number would be 1 in this category, but the number of people that continue to express an opinion along these kind of lines, like Jacksonville obviously doesn't have any interest in Trayvon Walker being here beyond next year, right? Like, they're expressing it like that's just the reality of the situation.
Hasn't worked out in Jacksonville.
Right. Like,
What?
they didn't get the extension done with them the moment they could have got the extension done with them, which means they're done with them.
By the way, which is this offseason. It's the first time they can get the extension done with
It's
him.
been like a month that they could discuss it with them. Essentially, they assume because they haven't gotten it done with them yet, that means they have no interest in getting that done with Trayvon Walker. So really, if you want to look at it, he's available. Right? He has to be. Otherwise, why wouldn't they lock him up?
Well, look, everyone's available with the possible exception of Mahomes, right? To some degree. But
absolutely.
Realistically available and hypothetically, theoretically available. Sure, everyone's theoretically available. Not for a third-round pick. They're not. If the Patriots said, hey, we'll give you the 4th pick in the draft, would the Jaguars do it?
Right.
You'd think about it because it would depend who's going to be sitting there.
Right.
You know, that's presuming Abdul Carter's probably off the board. Whatever, you reset the clock on the rookie value of the contract, right? And maybe you think that guy has more upside. We're not even think you're hanging up the phone if they say, like, pick 60, whatever.
No, it's silly. And when you look at where he actually is with his peers in the league, right? I think he's 20th in the entire National Football League in sacks combined the last 2 seasons. That's where Trayvon Walker is, right? He's one of a handful of players that has double-digit sacks in each of those seasons. Now, AI with these kind of things still stink when you ask them these kind of things. I asked 2 different AIs how many players have had double-digit sacks in each of the last 2 seasons, and I got 2 different answers.
Oh.
Right? One of them told me it was 2, and one of them told me it was 3, and neither of them include Trayvon Walker. I'm like, all right.
So they clearly
don't know what you're talking about, right? With this kind of thing to this point. But he's one of the handful of players in the National Football League that have had double-digit sacks in each of the last 2 seasons. And what you think, because there was a lot of discussion of whether they should have taken him or Hutchinson, and Hutchinson appears to be the better pro to this point in their career, so that means Jacksonville must be so disappointed with him that they're not bringing him back on a second contract or interested in keeping him beyond the rookie deal where they still have a 5th-year option and the franchise tag beyond that. They're obviously not going to go in any of those directions because, he's not Hutchinson?
If you put it this way, if he were out there, would the Jags give a 3rd-round pick for 2 years of Trayvon Walker? I think they would, right? Even if they knew he was going to walk at the end of it.
Yeah.
Right? So we don't want your 3rd-round pick. We've got it for 2 years, like, without even breaking a sweat here with the 5th-year option, never even getting into the whole franchise tag thing. If I were to rank, or if we were to have that conversation and rank the top 3 most shocking players that could be traded from the Jaguars, I would say Brian Thomas Jr. is actually number 1 because of the level of the contract, right? Like he gives you such value on a rookie deal.
Yeah. I think it's close with him and Trevor, but it might be him. I think it's
close as well, but I think it's he is ahead because I could see a team going, well, you got to, quarterback is just that position that we've got to find a way to invest in, and we can overwhelm them on a deal, and this is a terrible quarterback class, and all these different things you can come up with. I'm not saying either one is even on the radar, okay? And I don't think they are. I'm just saying if you were to rank the most shocking, I'd put BTJ, Trevor. We can argue the order, okay? They're the top 2. Trayvon's 3. He's easy 3 to me because – from the Jags' perspective, if they're coming in and saying, hey, we'll give you a whole bunch for Josh Hines-Allen or a whole bunch for Trayvon Walker. Well, I mean, Josh Hines-Allen has produced at a higher end level for the 1 season, but he's also being paid crazy much more money than Trayvon Walker is.
That season.
Right. And so I think it would be like if the Jags, for whatever reason, were destined to trade one of their starting edge rushers, I think Josh Hines-Allen would be more likely to go. And now I think Trayvon would be more coveted because of that, because of the age and the contract and all those things that go with it. But either way, I mean, we did a thing last week with McManus on Friday where we talked about who are the guys that you feel abundantly confident that nothing can change their role for this team in 2025. And it was a short list, right? It was Trevor, Brian Thomas Jr., You could debate any of the offensive linemen. You could also make an argument that, you know what, if they draft the right guy, that guy could get pushed to the bench. We talked about Brenton Strange because right now he's at the top of the tight end depth chart, but he could have a tight end drafted that knocks him down a peg. The running backs could be replaced. Anybody else on offense, you really have two guys. On defense, it was the edge rushers, Tyson Campbell, and we considered Foye. And that was it. You know, in terms of not having your projected role as of last week altered significantly by what happens in the draft.
It's remarkable how little the people who put these things out there think about any of these kind of angles with it. I'm looking at the list of the sack leaders for the last 2 years combined. Josh Hines-Allen is 6th with 25.5. Trayvon Walker is 12th in the NFL the last 2 years with 20.5 sacks, and the team's not interested in bringing him back.
Young, ascending, versatile.
Right, because they've been able to work out a deal with him for 6 weeks to keep him beyond the 2 years that they obviously still control him.
And when we say haven't been able to, how do we know they've even begun
we
that
have
process?
No idea.
You just turned over the whole brain trust of this team.
Right.
They're just getting to know their roster. They had to attack free agency.
Right.
They had to do all these things.
We had the discussion last week about what kind of offer I'd be willing to make right now for Trayvon Walker. And hope he would say yes and would understand if he said, you know what, we'll just play it out, right? Like, I can understand him saying, yeah, you know what, we'll wait, see where this is going to go with the whole thing. But if you could get him to sign a 3-year extension at about $25 million a year right now, I'd do it. I think they'd do it.
As long as you, when you say extension, I don't want it to replace the years.
No, that's what I'm saying. It would be, we actually have him for the next 4 years now.
I'd look at it. I want him for the next 5.
Yeah,
because
maybe you make it a 4-year extension at that $100 million. Say it's 4 years, $100.
Picking up the 5th-year option is coming.
Yeah. Oh, it's coming. For sure, it's coming, but they haven't done it yet, and so they can't do that till next offseason. Or I think later this offseason they have to pick it up.
This offseason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have to do that kind of thing. So, yeah, once they pick that up, then, a 3-year, $75 million extension. I don't know that Trayvon would say yes to that kind of offer, and that's his business. But we're already thinking about it with Trayvon Walker. I can't understand how these kind of stories come up. I don't know, because we don't cover the other 31 teams the way we cover Jacksonville.
Yeah.
I don't know if they get the same kind of nonsense.
Maybe.
Where they have a player that's coming up on this kind of, but it happens with virtually every Jaguars player that gets to this kind of point. Teams are talking about Trevor Lawrence as a bust. He hasn't lived up to it, but everyone should be interested in trading for him. Which is
right? Exactly. Well, the Giants should go after Trevor Lawrence. The Steelers should go after Trevor Lawrence. You fill in the blank should go after Trevor Lawrence. But he's trash, right? That's what you tell
silly.
us.
Yeah,
he's trash. But you know what? Maybe he's trash, but he's not Mason Rudolph level trash.
He would be our trash now. Yeah.
Right. Well, we'll fix him, Tone, because that's the thing. Well, that's what we're hoping for, as much as he needs, quote, fixing.
Yeah.
Right. Let's say we'll maximize him, put it a nicer way of putting it. That's what Liam Cohen and staff are here for.
No doubt.
Okay? That is job freaking one with them. So, until and unless I hear something from, and I don't anticipate it, from anybody with any kind of legitimacy, I don't think there's anything to Trayvon Walker not being anything but a long-term Jaguar.
Yeah, if you asked one of those guys right now, just candidly, hey, is there any interest in moving Trayvon? They just chuckle.
Right.
Like, that would be the way they'd respond. And it should be.
Let's say they just get to a point where they decide, all right, let's try to get ahead of it. Let's try to work out an extension, and Trayvon's just not amenable to it, which I don't think that would necessarily be the case. But, I mean, things could change.
Yeah.
But as far as what we know right now, it seems not just wrong, but ludicrous that it is
the odds of him
considered at this level.
Right. The odds of him not being a Jacksonville Jaguar for the next 3 seasons are very low in my mind. The 4th year, 5th year option, franchise tag the year after that if they have to. I think the odds are very good that Trayvon Walker is going to be a Jaguar for at least the next 3 seasons. Then he might be available to somebody.
Maybe.
Right? But even then, they probably figure out a way, if he's still playing at the kind of level he's at and getting better, they figure out a way to extend it.
I think it's much more likely he gets a contract extension than they ever get close to using a franchise tag on him.
That's more likely than he's ever a free agent in the next 2 years. That's crazy.
This whole narrative, you got to question the source when you hear something like this. Like, what are you talking about? His potential departure has accelerated the need to address the position. Only if the people in the building are the ones who believe in his potential departure.
At least people who are mocking a tight end that isn't exactly fitting what I think they're looking for in a tight end is seeing that Ingram left and they feel like they need to replace it on the roster. That's way more fair than I don't think they really like Trayvon. Right.
Right. It's just not really working out in Duval.
That's nuts.
All right. We got to take a time out. Speaking of, we mentioned Brandon Ayuk with the Steelers last year. He's back in the news over the weekend and with something that could impact the Jags. And no, the Jags are not said to be looking at acquiring Brandon Ayuk. But how could he possibly impact the Jags in a positive way this offseason? We'll discuss that when we return. Tony will take us around the NFL. You're listening to Jaguars Today. Another hour to go right here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today.
From the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios at 1010XL. Here's another classic Florida Gator moment.
Snap is perfect. Tebow uses that 6'3" frame to struggle for the first down.
I'm like, wow, this is pretty freaking fun. Tim Tebow jumps up and sings first down.
1010XL, home of the Florida Gators.
Guys, your lawn's the home field. Now you can champion your St. Augustine grass. TopDressing.com just hit Jacksonville with a game-changing patented process. Aerate and transform your turf into a fairway-worthy masterpiece. Less water, shorter cuts, and the envy of every neighbor. No one else delivers a perfect 10 lawn like this. Visit TopDressing.com and dominate your block with the same process that golf courses use. Top dress your lawn like the pros with TopDressing.com.
St. Johns County parents, does your kid have energy to burn? Want them to play a sport for their middle school? Sign up today for the St. John's Middle School Athletic Association. Spring pickleball, tackle football, dance, and cheerleading. Who doesn't want their kid to be the next NFL quarterback or dance floor diva? Hurry, time is running out. March is almost over. You know how fast your kid can go from playing Xbox to practicing their touchdown dance or sideline cheer? Sign up at sjmsaa.org. sjmsaa.org.
Lauren Brooks here for Terminix. When pests invade your home or business, you don't just need them out, you need them out fast. And you need to keep them out. At Terminix, they'll show up for you and eliminate pests quicker, just like they did at my house, because they care about what matters most to you. When pests show up, so does Terminix. Don't live with a pest problem, Terminix it. Visit Terminix.com today to schedule a free inspection online. That's TERMINIX.com. That's right, Terminix it.
It's a Dreamfinders Homes Monday.
Official home builder of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Get ready for an unforgettable night of classic rock with legendary vocalist Jeff Tate. Known for his iconic work with Queensryche, Jeff Tate brings his unforgettable sound to the Florida Theater for one night only.
A round trip journey in your head.
Witness the hit album Operation Mindcrime, performed in its entirety for the final time. Jeff Tate, Operation Mindcrime, April 3rd at Florida Theater. Tickets at floridatheater.com.
E.T. here, and spring in Clay County means one thing, the award-winning Clay County Fair. It's more than just rides in a concert, it's an experience. Savor the flavors of classic fair treats, explore family-friendly attractions, and enjoy a perfect mix of small-town charm and big-time fun. Plan your trip with Explore Clay County Tourism and turn your visit into a getaway. Find the best places to stay, eat, and explore at exploreclay.com. And don't forget to share your fair adventures with #ExploreClay.
I'm here with Clayton Bromberg of Underwoods. Clayton, you talk a lot about a diamond's cut grade. Why is a diamond graded for cut?
Frank, that's simple. We cut grade diamonds to show a measurement of beauty and light return to the person looking at the diamond so they can understand the value difference between a diamond cut for maximum beauty and one cut for maximum weight. Now, it gets a little more complicated when you find out that the American Gem Society Laboratory actually assigns performance grades and proportion grades using patented computer software and grades for polish and symmetry using a microscope. The end result of cut grading is a final grade that can go from a 0 or ideal to a 10, which is poor. Each of these grades are priced a little differently. That's why you can see a diamond with a fine color and clarity priced low, particularly on the internet, because a trained gemologist won't buy it for resale because of the poor cut. Unfortunately, these type deals aren't good deals. They're bad deals for the unknowing customer.
Underwoods in San Marco, Avondale, and the shops of Ponte Vedra.
Home of the Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Out with the old, in with the organized. Mia here for my friends at Closets by Design. Freshen up your home this spring with a custom organization solution. For a limited time, take advantage of our spring special and enjoy exclusive savings on closets, garages, home offices, and more. That's 40% off with an additional 15% off with 12-month special financing through April. Spring on this deal before it's gone. Call today to schedule your free in-home consultation with Closets by Design.
Denny Thompson here. You gotta check out Tyson's Showroom Home Theater with surround sound and comfy theater chairs. You can transform your living room into a cinematic experience. I can stay there to watch all my games. It's that comfortable. Call Tyson today and bring the theater experience home. Tyson Sound and Security, your security, home theater, and home automation experts. New showroom at 3555 U.S. Highway 17 in Fleming, Iowa.
Hi, I'm Mac with Baker Glass. Are you tired of wrestling with your old shower curtain? Then say goodbye to the curtain chaos and hello to a new frameless shower enclosure. Wago Glass is clear, classy, and won't stick to you like a toddler at bedtime. Plus, it makes your bathroom look bigger and brighter. Upgrade your shower experience and step into style. Call me at Baker Glass and get ready to love your new glass shower enclosure. Baker Glass, no one treats you better.
Struggling with ED? Now Riddle Wellness has a solution that works. You've heard of PRP treatments for joint pain relief. That same technology is now available with the P-Shot, a non-surgical treatment for ED. Using your body's natural power, the P-Shot helps restore function naturally. No pills, no downtime, just results. Schedule a free consultation at elevatejacksonville.com and learn what the P-Shot can do for you. Riddle Wellness, your health, your confidence totally restored. Visit elevatejacksonville.com.
This is Molly McDonald with your 1010XL local sports update brought to you by Lone Pronto. A sweet victory against the Yukon Huskies will keep the Florida Gators dancing into the Sweet 16 of March Madness. The Gators used a run of 6 consecutive points late in the game to surge up front by 3, but the Huskies were able to tie up the game. The Gators answered with a second run to go up by 8 in the final seconds. Gators head coach Todd Golden postgame on the victory.
It's a great win for our program. You know, the time was now for us to take that next step. Getting Florida basketball back where it belongs, and being in the Sweet 16 is a great step in the right direction. Incredibly proud of our players. We made winning play after winning play down the stretch in the last 6 minutes. After about 34 minutes of it not looking like it was going to go our way. That's the benefit of having 3 great senior leaders in the backcourt and some young, hungry front-court players that'll give it their all.
It's 69 degrees at 11:01. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Everything you need to know about the Jags. Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
Hey! What happened to our camera? No memory card. Cannot play.
Molly's getting fired.
Molly's sliding out the door is what she's doing right now. Molly's like, what, me? I'm leading the bracket contest. I can do no wrong. Molly McDonald. Yeah, I don't know what happened there, Dylan. Got a connection issue for the YouTubers out there. For the majority of you listening, this doesn't affect you. But I saw the shiny object right in front of my eyes, Tony, and I had to pounce on it right there. So I don't know what happened. Hopefully we're still streaming our wonderful audio on all major platforms out there. All right. Before we go any further, Tone, why don't you take us on a quick look around what happened in the NFL this weekend?
Now, gems around the NFL. Brought to you by Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jax Beach.
Houston has signed offensive tackle Trent Brown to a 1-year deal worth up to $3 million. New Orleans has signed wide receiver Brandon Cooks to a 2-year, $13 million deal. Cooks was a first-round pick by the Saints in 2014. He's played in 4 other spots in the last 8 seasons since he left New Orleans, but back there now. The LA Chargers are bringing in tight end Tyler Conklin on a 1-year, $3 million deal. Free agent quarterback Aaron Rodgers visited the Steelers for around 6 hours on Friday. The two sides reportedly agreed to stay in touch following what was described as a good meeting, and Jameis Winston is being signed by the New York Giants on a 2-year, $8 million deal.
Whoa. I just got this on the old laptop here.
Oh.
I don't know if
it's restarting itself.
Quite the blue screen of death. Yeah. No, I think you know what? I think I fixed it. I did. It's a rare fix by me right there. I thought it was blue screening it right there, the blue screen of death, but it did not occur. So, all right. There's little things happening. Brandon Cooks, again, I hope the Army Browns, the right guy, fits. I know he obviously fits their profile, all this. 1 year, $10 million with no team security. If he does blow up and is worth that contract this year, and then he's an unrestricted free agent next year, is a curious choice when you look at a guy who's as accomplished as Brandon Cooks. Now, it's been a few years. He's had a 1,000-yard season. But it's not like you have De'Ami Brown locked up on the cheap for the next 3 years, hoping to experience that full breakout, right? And when you hear like 2 years, $13 million in New Orleans for a guy who's had 6 1,000-yard seasons in his career, and you're betting the farm on a guy, I mean, the farm relatively, at least, 1 year, $10 million on a guy who's never done it.
The only thing you've invested in the position this offseason.
And not just that you invested in him, it's that I see a lot of receivers signing for like $5 million. And I'm like, De'Ami Brown's twice as good as this guy. I mean, you have to trust their scouting eye on some of that stuff because, hey, we fixed it. Dylan, you saved us. Excellent job. All right, we're back on video as well. Thumbs up from Mr. Denmark right there. He's moving slow. You notice that today? He's just kind of, he's moving. But it's not at a quick pace. Still got a little bit of that Vegas hangover, I do believe. So
Sunday stroll.
What is it?
A Sunday stroll.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
And it is Monday. Is it Sunday in Vegas? I mean, how stupid was I last week? I called Dylan. I called him up after the show because I figured he had texted me. Mm-hmm. I texted him at Vegas time, 7 a.m. I said, "How's your bracket looking?" I'm just trying to get a little ping back.
Yeah.
One ping for distance. And just trying to, make sure he's alive and well in Vegas. Yeah. And that's it, So I just went with that. Hey, how's your bracket looking? Thinking that I needed to subtract 3 hours or add 3 hours to it. I thought it was 1 in the afternoon is basically what it was. I went the complete opposite way. I think the world revolves in a different direction than it does, and time zones don't work the way they do. So Dylan called me up, or he actually texted me, and then I called him, and I'm sure he's like, man, bro, I'm West Coasting it right now. Can you leave me the heck alone? But I could not. All right, anyway, let's get back to a little focus here, which is usually what I have, a little focus. Brandon Ayuk. John Frashella has written for Bleacher Report and others. Got over 100,000 followers. So it's just not the be-all, end-all of legitimacy, but is a name I recognize out there. Doesn't seem like he just makes stuff up out of the blue. And I'm about to talk about something that he mentioned as a possibility. You can go, well, how come people can mention that about Trayvon Walker? There's a difference between saying, hey, I don't know, why don't you offer a third-round pick for this guy? Or saying, hey, the Patriots have had interest and have approached the Jaguars and, something to that level. That's not a report. That's a speculation of what maybe a team should do or could do. Here he says, this caught my eye yesterday. The Cleveland Browns have been pounding the 49ers in the past week or so, trying to find a deal that works for Brandon Ayuk. In other words, to acquire Brandon Ayuk. Mm-hmm. And looks like they want a wide receiver 1 for Shedeur. Now, is this part speculative? Like, when you say that the Browns have been hitting up the Niners for a week, that's a report. That's not saying, I wonder if they're talking to the 49ers. So they should be. He's saying they have been.
Yeah.
Okay? Ayuk, you could probably surmise that the 49ers regret giving him all that money only to have him turn around and tear his ACL. Ricky Pearsall's there. Jawan Jennings is there. They're remaking that room after a 6-win season. Could they look to move on from a guy they're paying over $30 million a year who's rehabbing a torn ACL? Right? Very possible.
Yeah, in late October.
Right. So who knows when he's going to be available for this year. Could the Cleveland Browns be looking to add to the wide receiver room? Absolutely makes sense. Jerry Jeudy had a breakout season last year. How much of that was Jameis Winston's just a gunslinger who's going to force you the football? I guess Malik Neighbors will find out if Jameis has to play with New York. But the part where he says, looks like they want a wide receiver 1 for Shedeur. Is he, I'm a little conflicted. Is he saying, I know this? Is he speculating? Well, this makes sense that if they're going to draft Shedeur Sanders, they want him to walk into a room with some potential weapons here.
Mm-hmm.
But if Shedeur Sanders is going to go to the Cleveland Browns, a lot of twists off that. A, do the Giants want to jump the Browns if they covet Cam Ward? And if so, what does that say about Tennessee's feeling about either one of these quarterbacks? But what I want to see is Tennessee take a quarterback and that quarterback fall on his face.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I want to see.
Yeah.
Okay? Flat out. Nothing against Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders, whichever one they take. I want everyone Tennessee takes to suck.
Yeah, not a whole lot of success wished on anybody the Titans.
None, right? So I don't want them to trade back to 3 because they don't like the quarterbacks anyway and get a windfall of extra picks to help start their rebuild this year. That's a bad scenario. But let's say the Titans stand pat and take Cam Ward at 1. And the Browns actually do take Shedeur Sanders. Well, for one thing, now you know that like Mason Graham's probably the absolute fallback for you. Worst case scenario at 5. Or if you don't, I guess if you really covet Mason Graham, maybe Travis Hunter's the worst case scenario, but it'd probably be Abdul Carter in one of those two, or possibly an offensive lineman. Maybe you would have that choice like we talked about last week between Hunter and Graham. But, Tony, is there any possibility at all that the Giants, this happens in drafts. All of a sudden you look up, the quarterbacks get picked apart, and all of a sudden they're going 1, 2, 3. Could the Giants go Jackson Dart with the 3rd overall pick? I don't know that they would. It seems like they would maybe feel like they were settling for a quarterback and just taking one because they had to have one. I think they'd be more likely, like in that scenario, sign Russell Wilson as they're talking about. Even though they signed Jameis, they may still sign Russell Wilson. Roll with those 2 guys and jump back into a better quarterback pool next year, potentially. Go for Arch Manning or whomever, right, at whatever point in time. But you might say, oh, Jackson Dart's not going in the top 3. Well, where is Jackson Dart going? Yeah. Exactly. Many pundits seem to have him as the 3rd quarterback on their board. Chad Ryder, who we had on last week, did his 4-round mock, and I think he had Jackson Dart going to the Jets with the 7th pick. And I've seen that in more than a few spots right there. Now, at that point, are the Jets, if it gets to the Jags and they covet Jackson Dart, are they likely to trade up? Probably not, but maybe they do because they don't want to get jumped from some other team. But if he could reasonably, and maybe you don't think it's reasonable, I say you, the audience, whomever, I don't know how reasonable it is if Jackson Dart should be considered a top 10 pick. But if he can go 7, why can't he go 3? And then all of a sudden, what if you are sitting there and it goes those 3 quarterbacks and Abdul Carter, and you do have the choice between Hunter or Graham, and maybe you do then get a few more interesting trade offers for one of those guys compared to the other. And if the Jets did want to jump up in that scenario and take Travis Hunter, and you feel pretty confident that the Raiders are going Genty, you can't know for sure.
No.
Could you have Mason Graham fall into your lap with the 7th pick if you were able to move back?
Yeah, I think early on, the trade discussions we were having about the Jaguars were essentially predicated on whoever the 2nd quarterback was still being there, right? At 5. Like, that's the kind of, we were like, if that's what you expect to happen, that seems to be where you might get someone to bite.
Yes.
At that kind of thing. I think it feels, if 2 quarterbacks go in those first 4 picks, I think there is a chance that someone would be willing to make a move to 5, but only a small one, right? Like, I think the only...
A move for 5 for Dart or for someone else?
For whatever. It could be for whatever player dropped because 2 quarterbacks went off the board, whatever it happens to be, right? It's Hunter's still there when the Jags are on the board at 5, and the teams at 6, 7, 8 say, we want to make the move to get this guy. That's the guy that's the top of our board. It's not going to cost us all that much. It's worth that price for us to pay to get that guy. I think that is coming more and more into play than we thought it was early on. when we were talking about the potential trade scenarios for the Jags. There's more and more talk about 2 quarterbacks going, and now at least people are willing to talk about 3 going in the top 4 of this draft. And if that happens, then odds are in a draft with not a whole lot of blue chip players, there's just not many of them in this draft. If that is the scenario where 3 quarterbacks come off the board, there's going to be a blue chip guy when the Jags are drafting at 5. And so the Jags have to do the mental math of, is the blue chip guy worth more than us having 2 or 3 more shots at this middle class of players in this draft?
Or even just one more shot. Like, is it worth missing out on the blue chip guy that we deem to be the blue chip guy to move back several spots, which is kind of what we set up with today's question of the day, right? 7 and 73, you probably still get one of those blue chip guys, right? But you get a 3rd-round pick as compensation. Maybe you miss out on Travis Hunter. And with the thought of Travis Hunter being the lure that brings the team up to 5 if it falls that way. Or 11 and 43, just because we see the Niners talked about. And I get it. I get it to the people saying the Niners are going through a rebuild. Why would they do this? Well, teams do a lot of crazy things. Maybe they want, who knows? What if they can't agree to terms with Brock Purdy? Then again, they took Purdy with the Mr. Irrelevant pick.
So assume it's 15 and 50. Like, the question doesn't change all that much.
Right. Do you miss out on is it worth the 30 extra draft spots from 73 to 43 to miss out on the true blue chip tier if you believe in the blue chip tier?
And I do think there's a portion of the fan base, and I would probably count myself among this group. When the draft process started for the Jags, I was like, well, Travis Hunter's a pipe dream. Right? Like, that's the way I felt about it early on, the pipe dream. There's no way he's going to be there at 5. I can put him at the top of whatever list, but how much should I consider him because he's at the top of my list? I think, given the news that we've had here in the last couple of weeks, if you were someone like me that was looking at Hunter that way, you got to rethink it. Like, where exactly is Hunter in your mind? Because I think it's getting the scenarios where he will be available at 5 seem to be expanding as opposed
I don't think
to
it's
shrinking.
More likely than not.
Yeah.
But I think it's not 100% unlikely.
I thought it was a very, very low likelihood not that long ago, and now I'm like, there's a real shot that Hunter will still be on the board when the Jags are picking at 5.
By the way, I had the 2 mocks mixed up. It was Ryder in his 4-round mock that has the Jets staying pat. It was the other guy who had the Jets trading up to get Hunter from the Jag spot. He had in this one, Hunter was off the board. Mason Graham went to the Jags, and the Jets took Jackson Dart with the 7th pick in the draft. And again, if you're going to go 7, is it that outrageous to think you could go 3? Now, maybe you say, well, look, it's the Jets, so whatever they do is a different level of outrageousness compared to what the Giants would typically do, and that's fair. But I don't think it's that out of the – I mean, if a guy is being projected to go in the top 10 anywhere with – few exceptions of the truly elite players at the top, you shouldn't be surprised where he falls there then in the top 10.
Yeah, the Jets and Giants have been poorly run enough that if they do something that a poorly run organization would do, you don't go, oh, really? Like, when they do it, you just go, yeah, that's them, until they stop being that.
Somebody said today, I would take that trade back to 11 and take Armand Membu, but you got to presume he's gone.
Yeah.
Although in Ryder's mock, he goes 10th, Will Campbell goes 11th. You can give me 11 and 43, and Will Campbell's the 11th pick. That's the thing. You don't know.
You don't know.
You don't know who that's going to be. All right, we got to take a timeout. Let's look at today's Chad and Sandy real estate question of the day. It's overwhelmingly in favor of getting that higher 2nd pick in the deal, but we'll talk about some of the ramifications of that coming up. Your Chad and Sandy real estate question of the day. If the Jags were to trade back in the draft a month from now, would you rather have 7 and 73 or 11 and 43 as the compensation coming your way? You're listening to Jaguars Today. Keep it right here on 1010XL, 92.5 FM.
Jaguars
Today.
From the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios of 1010XL.
What are you doing here?
It's good to see you too.
I'm sorry, I'm confused. You are...
1010XL.
Jags fans, here's your chance to score a trip to Green Bay for round 1 of draft night.
through the Everbank Draft Night Experience Sweepstakes. One lucky winner and a guest will be there live and in person to see the Jaguars make their first pick. To enter, visit everbank.com/draft by April 4th. That's everbank.com/draft. No purchase necessary to enter or win. Open to legal residents of the 50 United States and D.C. 18 and older. Entry period from 3/3/25 to 4/4/25. For official rules, prize description, odds of winning, and other details, visit everbank.com/draft. Sponsored administrator, Everbank N.A.
When you need a mechanic you can trust, call Sam, Harry, or Joe at AA Automotive on Richard Street. From oil changes to complex engine repairs, AA Automotive promises expert service and honest pricing from a local family biz. AA Automotive on Richard Street.
Need protection? Call Craig and Christine Kaprosky at Goosehead Insurance. The Kaproskys are a husband-wife team committed to finding you the right coverage at the right price in just a few short minutes. For home, auto, flood, or specialty insurance, Craig and Christine Kaprosky are the answer. Craig.Kaprosky at goosehead.com.
Jaguars Today.
It's a Dream Finders Homes Monday.
Florida heat is no joke. Is your air conditioner ready for it? At Duck Duck Air Conditioning, we've got a crazy offer just for you. We're giving away free AC inspections to our wonderful customers who now call and schedule. One of our expert techs will come look at your AC unit and make recommendations to ensure it's running at peak performance. But you must act today. A deal this good won't last forever. Call 904-862-6769. Duck Duck Air Conditioning. DuckDuckAC.com. Any required repairs are not included in the inspection.
Hey everybody, Jennifer Marion with Randy Marion Cadillac in Jacksonville here to say hello, and we'd sure like to have your business.
You know what? They're going to love the king of price.
My dad believes in making great deals and having a great selection in stock.
Cadillac XT4s, XT5s, and XT6s, and Escalades.
The all-electric Cadillac Lyriq.
CT4s and CT5s.
Cadillac luxury and selection is just waiting for you.
At Randy Marion Cadillac, Southside Boulevard, Jacksonville.
And don't forget, tell them Jennifer sent ya.
Has someone you care about been arrested or had their driver's license taken away? I'm Susan Cohen, and I work with David Robbins at the law firm of Epstein & Robbins. We are experienced fighters for those charged with DUI, domestic violence, and all criminal offenses. In your battle with the justice system, there's only one thing you need to know. Dial David 24/7 at Epstein & Robbins, 354-5645. 354-5645.
If fishing is in your DNA, hop in the boat with Captain Kevin. It's the Ring Power Fishing Forecast Show. Brought to you by Awaken 180 Weight Loss and Royal Pest Services.
Thursday nights at 6
on 1010XL AM.
Are you thinking about a pool for your home? Blue Haven Pools is Jacksonville's largest pool builder. They've built pools for over 20,000 satisfied families since 2000. It's never been easier to design the perfect pool for your home, family, and budget. Call Blue Haven Pools today at 904-620-0090 to get a free in-home estimate for your in-ground pool, or visit bluehaven.com. Don't let another summer pass by without a pool. Join thousands of happy Jacksonville pool owners in a Blue Haven pool.
It's March Madness, and your office needs a champion. Advanced Business Solutions teams up with Xerox to bring you copiers that never miss a shot. Fast, reliable, and ready to handle the pressure. Make the winning play for your business. Hire the champions at Advanced Business Solutions, where your business goes for the win. Locally and veteran-owned.
Print documents and IT management. Advanced Business Solutions.
What could you do with an extra $75,000 right now, or even a couple $100,000? If you own a home, you can get that money in less than a week with Loan Pronto. Hey, Prosser here. Loan Pronto is the leader in quickly converting your home equity into cold hard cash, so you can pay off all your credit cards or start that home remodel. Loan Pronto has several easy options to let you access the cash from your home. There's virtually no paperwork, no cumbersome process, no junk fees, often no appraisals. Listen, the average homeowner now has over $300,000 in equity. That's your money. Use it. One client got $150,000 out and paid off all their credit cards, 2 car loans, and a personal loan, cutting their monthly expenses by $1,500. You can get approved in as little as 1 day, so act now with no hard credit pull up front. LoanPronto.com or 904-999-1508. Get the money you need for anything at 904-999-1508 or just go to LoanPronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Tired of seeing the signs of aging? Spring is here, a time to renew. I'm Dr. Mark Capel, a board-certified dermatologist, here to help you look and feel your best with minimal to no downtime. Rejuvenate your skin,
strengthen your core and sculpt your body with advanced face and body treatments designed to restore your youthful glow and confidence. Just in time for spring and summer. A healthier, more fit you starts now. Visit dermagnify.com and step into spring looking and feeling your best.
The housing market is as busy as ever on the First Coast. And if you've moved in or moved on, make sure you have a team of trained electricians ready to help. American Electrical can make sure you're up to date electrically and maximize your living experience. Smart home automation services, home theater systems, outdoor and dock lighting, and backup generators. American Electrical can do it all. A team you can trust with highly trained technicians ensuring you have the best living experience. American-Electrical.com, a leader on the First Coast and powered by professionalism.
1010XL is presented by Farrah & Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now more Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
All right, don't take my word for it. Don't take Tony's word for it. Take Pete Prisco's word for it. The possibility of Travis Hunter sliding through the first 4 picks could be very, very real. Pete Prisco, CBS Sports, regular here on 1010XL and Jaguar programming, put out his first mock draft. I believe it's his first. Yeah, 1.0 of the offseason. And he has 3 quarterbacks going in the first round, although Jackson Dart not going anywhere near the top 5. Tone going 21st to Pittsburgh. But he has Cam Ward to the Titans. I don't know if he projected any trades in this. Cam Ward to the Titans with the first pick. Abdul Carter to the Browns with the second pick. I think he's the betting favorite to go number 2. Shedeur Sanders to the Giants. And Pete writes, if you don't have a quarterback, you have to get one. Sanders might not have the biggest arm. He throws with timing and anticipation. The Giants have to do something. Why not take a chance on Sanders with a shot to land him? Why not if you don't think he's worth it? I mean, that'd be why not, obviously. I mean, that's the problem, man. For all you want to say about Trevor Lawrence, is he perfect? No. But is the Jag situation, put the money aside, having Trevor Lawrence here and locked in for the foreseeable future compared to being in these waters right now? Yeah. You're picking 5th, Tone, and do we trade up and get one of these so-so guys? Do we take Jackson Dart there? Do we punt on the position for another year? Ugh.
No, thank you.
No, thank you. So, all right, Patriots pick, drum roll. Patriots go Will Campbell, offensive line out of LSU. And this is exactly how we laid it out last week. 2 quarterbacks, Carter, and an offensive lineman to New England. Pete says they have offensive line issues. Campbell could play guard or tackle. That matters to the Patriots. He may never be an all-pro, but he'll be a good long-term starter. They could also look for receiver help here, but the value is on the line, meaning the line of scrimmage. The receiver help they could look for, obviously, is Travis Hunter. Prisco projects in his first mock, Travis Hunter does not get by the Jacksonville Jaguars. Prospect rank number 1 for CBS, position rank number 1. Isn't that crazy to think?
Pick your position.
Right. Either position.
Yeah.
Right. But Pete writes, the Jags need receiver help, but they could also use an elite corner. Tyson Campbell's a good corner. Jordan Lewis will be a nice addition. Can you imagine a secondary with Hunter added? His receiver value would also be welcome. Sounds like Pete thinks
he's a corner.
Primarily
first.
A corner, and he would dabble on offense. That is the most logical scenario if you're going to get double value out of him or more than one value, right? Plus value out of Travis Hunter is that full-time corner package of plays. Tougher to maybe be a full-time receiver and have a package of plays on defense.
Yeah.
Right?
Like, I don't know what the logic could be in that. Like,
Troy Brown used to do it,
yeah,
right? With the Patriots. He was a receiver. They made him into a DB. I don't know, maybe he had a DB background in college or whatever, and he played like nickel corner for them in the early to mid-2000s, kind of mid-2000s, something like that with the Patriots. So it's not 100% unprecedented. But, you know, the Dion example, lockdown corner, dabble with him on offense because that speed and playmaking ability is so devastating. But regardless, I mean, whichever way they go, if you just told me you're taking Travis Hunter and you're going to start out saying, let's see what he looks like next to Brian Thomas Jr. in that wide receiver core, and we'll let him focus on that for his rookie year. I'm not upset about that. Guy just won the Blitnikoff Award.
Yeah.
I mean, we've all seen the play. He's dynamic with the ball in his hands. So anyway, he had Jackson Dart. Pete did it. If I didn't mention exactly where he went to Pittsburgh with 21.
21, yeah.
But still, first-round pick.
Yep.
You get to that point. You know, we were doing these 7-round mocks. We'll do another one coming up on Wednesday. And for a while there, Pittsburgh trading up to 5 was an offer you got quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to answer the quarterback position. You know, who knows? It seems like today the feeling is eventually when the dust settles, he'll end up in Pittsburgh. Aaron Rodgers will end up in Pittsburgh, but not done yet.
Well, Pittsburgh, if, you know, for the listeners that are responding to our question of the day saying, why would San Francisco be willing to move out of that spot? Well, again, I think if you want to say it's San Francisco for the sake of our discussion here today, what if it was Pittsburgh, right? What if they got wind that the Jets are seriously thinking about Dart, right? And Pittsburgh said, we like him enough to make him our quarterback. We're willing to commit to Dart, but we got to get ahead of the Jets to do it. I'm not saying that they would. I'm not saying it's a likely scenario, but if you're talking about, well, that scenario is just not likely that San Francisco would move up. Well, what if it is Pittsburgh because of the Dart thing?
Right. Well, then it changes, though, the dynamics. I think people can get on board with, hey, I'll take the 11th pick. I'm going to get a really good player there. And 43, as opposed to Pittsburgh having 21.
Right.
You might need their second and third round picks to get that done.
Sure.
Or even more. I don't know what the charts would say. Who else? I mean, it doesn't have to be San Fran. They've been mentioned, but it's more about the value of their first and second round picks almost equals what the Jags pick is.
Yeah.
So it's more a mental exercise of don't get hung up on 11 or San Fran being the team.
No.
Let's say San Fran traded those picks to somebody else for something, and that team was offering those picks. It's more, are you willing to go outside of the super blue chip elite tier to pick up a second pick?
Right. Solidly outside of that. 7, you might still have a blue chip guy that slips to you. It's not likely, but it's way more likely at 7 than it is 11.
I think it depends on who you think is blue chip. Is Will Campbell blue chip? Is Armand Membu blue chip?
I don't look at him as blue chip.
But do the Jags?
I don't know.
Right. Well, that's the thing, right? So blue chip's in the eye of the beholder, obviously. So, all right, let's do that. We as we often do, get a little behind. We'll come back. Let's get into the nitty-gritty on today's Chad and Sandy real estate question today, see what people are saying about those trade scenarios. Again, they're hypotheticals right now. By the way, we're not reporting that these are going to happen. We're not suggesting that these are going to happen. We're just suggesting these are things we might be interested in.
Mm-hmm.
I suppose from that standpoint, you could say, okay, well, you know, why the Patriots would be interested in Trayvon Walker. You know, when you hear these speculative things, sure they would. But the compensation being a third-round pick, if you said the Patriots are interested and they're willing to give up the 4th pick and a third-rounder next year for Trayvon Walker, then you sit and you have a serious discussion about it.
Yeah.
To get him for the 69th pick in the draft, like, what are we doing?
No.
Here. No. Exactly. Hard no. Whereas, would San Fran be willing to do it? Maybe not, but the compensation would be fair, according to the chart. In fact, maybe you'd get a little kicker, 6th or 7th round pick going back San Fran's way, but it's within the ballpark of reason. And if you had a couple of teams bidding against each other, you probably wouldn't have to throw the kicker in as well. All right, we'll wrap up Jaguars today, kicking off a fresh week when we return in a moment. Keep it right here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Hey, folks, Mike Dempsey here for Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Look, whether you're out in Vegas hitting those buffets or doing your own thing, sometimes you need a little bit of help knocking off those extra pounds. That's where Awaken 180 Weight Loss comes in. They've been doing this now for over 10 years with tremendous success, over 24,000 satisfied clients, and they know how to get the weight off you. A lot of people do, though. Let's be honest. There are a lot of systems out there that can help you drop the weight. Have you read some of the fine print? Some of these medications that people are injecting into themselves, as soon as you go off it, you're likely to gain all that weight, maybe even more, right back on. With Awaken 180, there are no crazy medications, no injections, no rigorous exercise regimens you have to follow. You're going to eat to lose weight. You're going to eat to maintain that weight loss. They figured it out. After 10 years plus in the business, you can become their next most satisfied customer. Go to awaken180weightloss.com and schedule a free consultation and find out why free coaching and support for life is such a big deal with Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
Jaguars Today. You're at the home of the Jaguars in the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios. Superior products, exceptional service. Your home for Florida Gators baseball is 1010XL.
It's the Florida Sunshine Showdown at the baseball grounds of Jacksonville. Florida State on the diamond. Catch every pitch starting at 6 tomorrow on 1010 a.m.
We've all been waiting for it, and now March is finally here. Joe C. for Hard Rock Bet. The only way to make the most of March is to feed the frenzy. Check out all the lines, the tournament's opening rounds, and don't miss out. Who's getting upset? Who's going all the way? Play right along with them at Hard Rock Bet or download the app. Super easy to play and win on the Hard Rock Bet app. Offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. Must be 21 plus and physically present in Florida to wager. Terms and conditions apply. Concerned about gambling? Call 1-888-ADMIT-IT.
If you've been in an auto accident, you can count on the experts at San Jose Collision to return your vehicle to pre-accident conditions. San Jose Collision can also provide a fresh paint job to freshen up your vehicle or completely change its appearance. They can paint and repair all foreign and domestic cars and trucks. When quality and professionalism are important to you, trust San Jose Collision in Mandarin.
Yo, E.T. here, and Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, your favorite drafts are poured at a frosty 29 degrees, and rare barrel-aged whiskeys are served just the way you want them. It's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes through in the clutch every day, from lunch to late night? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar, Twin Peaks. Scratch kitchen scores every time. Dig in the hand-smashed burgers, chef-inspired flatbreads, and more at your local lodge. Come on, somebody.
Dreamfinders Homes, Monday.
On Jaguars Today.
This is Greg Huntington, a.k.a. The Mangler. I'm on the winning team at Waste Management. WM is the largest sustainability company in North America. If your business needs sustainable environmental services for waste removal and recycling collection, then you can count on the industry leader of WM to deliver results. Your services will be completed in a timely, safe, and eco-friendly manner. Go to WM.com/Duval. That's WM.com/Duval and get signed up today. If anyone can talk trash, it's the Mangler.
Home is where your story begins. And at Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing, we're here to make it the healthiest, most comfortable place it could be. Whether it's fresh, clean air, dependable plumbing, or reliable power, we take care of it all. From routine maintenance to state-of-the-art solutions, Donovan keeps your home running smoothly. Because at Donovan, we believe your home isn't just where you live, it's where your health meets comfort. Call Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing at 904-270-COOL or visit us online. Let's make your home healthier, safer, and better together.
Have you tried golfing at the improved Cimarron Golf Club? If you haven't, tell you what, you're missing out on the best deal in Jacksonville. Now, many of you have received a postcard in the mail, and of course, if you bring that with you, $45 plus tax to play. That includes a cart, lunch, and a beer at the brand new Stone Barrel Tap House. Now, go to the website, that is CimarronGolfClub.com, and sign up for the Wild One Loyalty Program. That's the Wild One Loyalty Program, and get all of these specials emailed to you from Cimarron.
I'm Max Fink, and I'll bring you the Gator Report several times weekly to keep you connected to Gainesville.
The Gator Report, put together by San Jose Collision on the home of the Florida Gators, 1010XL.
Go Gators!
When you hear Florida Gators baseball on 1010XL, it's brought to you by Renewal by Anderson, the official window and door replacement partner of the Florida Gators, and Farah & Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jaguars.
Florida homeowners, storms don't wait, so why should you? Universal Roof and Contracting protects your home and your wallet. Invest in a stronger roof and save big. Spend $6,000 and get up to $600 off. $15,000 up to $2,000 off. $20,000 up to $3,000 off. This deal ends March 31st. Call 855-ROOF-HELP for your free inspection. Universal Roof and Contracting. Protecting your home, building your trust. License number CCC 057165, CBC 1258484.
Hi, I'm Sean Monahan from Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach. Since 1977, we've been Jacksonville's local family jeweler with a beautiful selection of fine jewelry and certified diamonds. But we're also Jacksonville's leading buyer of gold and silver and diamonds from the public. Gold has recently hit an all-time high at almost $3,000 per ounce. Pay bills, buy something fun. Now is the time to sell your gold for cash and get top dollar or trade it in for a new piece and get even more value at Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach.
Hi, I'm Mac with Baker Glass. If you've got fogged up windows, let me help. We'll replace them with clear, insulated units that brighten up your home. People say we're fast, friendly, and reliable. Just check out our Google reviews. Call me today. Baker Glass. No one treats you better.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555, Jacksonville. Now, the cool down from the cool guys at Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing. Fast, reliable, and honest service since '87.
All right, Tone, before we get to today's Chad and Sandy real estate question today, recap, a little simple poll here, two options. If the Jags were to trade back, would your compensation be 7-73 or would you prefer 11-43, right? Jets and the Niners, right? Just, again, don't get tied up in the teams.
Mm-hmm.
This is the compensation, which is the better package for you. In other words, you're probably going to miss out on the elite tier of players. If you go back to 11, you get a much better second pick. Or maybe you still get Mason Graham at 7, and you get a third-round pick thrown in for your trouble, which is not bad either way, right?
No.
And we're going to make it a little bit more pointed because last week we did the poll with Hunter versus Graham. And, I mean, there are scenarios where they're both off the table. There are.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, it's possible. But Hunter v. Graham, and it was 64-36 in favor of Hunter. And so we thought about making the question very, very narrow of, let's say the Hunter was there, Jets were trying to trade up, and you ended up getting Mason Graham. Would you there are a lot of people that preferred Mason Graham anyway, 36%. So clearly they'd vote for the package. But if you were a Hunter devotee or someone who wanted Hunter on this roster and you had that chance, would you rather have Hunter or Graham in a third-round pick?
Mm-hmm.
Is basically the difference in that. And it ends up all being the same ballpark. I just wanted to remark on one other thing, something that we've brought up several times in this harrowing process and march towards the draft that we go through every year.
Yeah.
Stop mocking Kyron Lacey to the Jaguars.
Yeah.
I mean, we want to be intangibly rich, right? Nothing says intangibly rich like being charged with negligent homicide. I mean, people, I don't care where he might have gone had he not had these legal issues. He's not going there now.
He's had the legal issues.
He has the legal issues. He is going to, he was, for those who don't know or remember, LSU wide receiver that I saw one place saying, well, this guy would have been a first-round pick, certainly a top 50 pick.
Yeah. And
I don't know, maybe not.
The timeline is that all has to be cleared up in the next 4 weeks.
Which it's not going to be.
Right.
Right? Now, if everything got dropped, then it was blah, 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 but it doesn't seem like it because what happened, apparently, he was speeding, passing cars, racing down the road, whatever, passing in a no-passing zone. And so he's going the wrong way into incoming traffic. Somebody swerves out of his way. The guy right behind the guy who swerved out of the way also has to swerve. Well, he swerves into the oncoming traffic lane and ends up dying in a head-on collision. And Kyron Lacey raced off, allegedly, right? I don't know. I'm not trying to convict the guy, but allegedly, and then turned himself in a month later. And I guess they were looking for that. I don't know all the details of it, but he's been charged with some serious, serious crimes.
Yeah.
Like reckless endangerment, negligent homicide. So don't see that fitting the intangibly rich model the Jags are looking for.
No.
Let's spend one of our fourth-round picks on that guy. I mean, again, talent-wise, hey, maybe so. And it's funny because this is all a lot of this stuff coming out of the same mock today that I'm just shaking my head at. Maybe it says, are we just the dumping ground? Is that what it is? Like, it doesn't really matter. Who are we going to give them to? Give them to Jacksonville. Nobody cares. Nobody reads these.
Yeah.
Nobody reads these. And of the ones who do, only 1% of them are Jaguar faithful. Who cares? right? At least we'll get some anger clicks out of it that way. I don't know. But that's where we're at. All right, so today, what would you rather have, Tony? Would you rather have 7 and 73? And let's presume you can get Mason Graham. In this scenario we're playing out, Hunter's kind of available. You're going to move back at Mason Graham in the 73rd pick, or are you going to roll the dice on 11 and 43?
I think we're not doing this where we know who was the first 4 picks. Right?
Well,
so I don't know who the first 4 picks off the board were.
Let's presume Graham is available.
Right, but Mason Graham, I would assume, is going to be available to the Jags at 5. I don't know what else is going to be. I don't know if Hunter's going to be there. Like, I don't know exactly in this scenario. I don't think it matters all that much in my answering the question, because my answer would be 7 and 73, because I don't think, given the needs it appears to me the Jaguars have, that I want to give up the opportunity to get what I perceive to be a blue chip player in this class. If I'm in position to get a blue chip player, if I'm there at 5, I don't think I want to trade out of the opportunity to get that level of player in this draft with where the roster currently is. I'm less comfortable doing that than trading down to 11 would be in that scenario. So for me, I would answer 7 and 73, because it would still, I want the player I can get at 7 would be the thing that I would be circling in my mind more.
I'm probably more the 11 and 43, because that 43 guy is starting walking in the door, right? And,
sure.
And maybe 73 would as well, but I really think if you're taking a top 45 pick on this roster, that should be a day one starter.
Yeah.
So you would have 11, 36, 43, still have 70, 88, 2 picks in the 4th, still got tons and tons of draft capital. In my mind, this scenario only makes sense in a couple of ways. One, Travis Hunter is there.
Yes.
And that's the lure to come up and get him. So you're sitting there with a choice between Hunter and Graham in my head. 2 quarterbacks, Abdul Carter, because if it goes Abdul Carter, Travis Hunter, the only other scenario then is, are the Jets really going to trade up 2 spots to get Jackson Dart? And I don't know that they would.
And if they did, fine.
If they did, fine. But but in my head, would, like when the Jags made the move back for Anton Harrison, Buffalo came up, they wanted Dalton Kincaid, right? And Trent Baalke talked about afterwards that we asked him, offense, defense, big, little, right? Like, you got to give us an idea of what you're coming up to get. Now, teams can lie, right? They can, but then if you make such a blatant lie in that scenario, you may have closed the door on ever working with that front office again.
It'd be an interesting strategy.
It would be. Yeah. I mean, who's to say? I don't know. Maybe it happens, where teams say, hey, we're coming for this, coming for that. Or maybe it's just, look, we're not going to tell you. Do you want the pick or do you not want the pick?
Which would be fine if they wanted to do it that way.
It would be.
Yeah.
But, like the nightmare would be, I guess, the nightmare would be you move back to 7 and then somehow Hunter and Graham are both gone.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, it's interesting to me that you would be willing to move off potentially your number 1 player in the draft for a 3rd round selection. Like, to me, if I really believe Hunter's the best player,
odds are I wouldn't move.
Okay.
Like, odds are if we had the don't move selection, if Hunter was the player that I'm talking about moving, I probably wouldn't
stick
move,
and pick.
Right? Like, that's what I would do. But given the scenario we're talking about today, which am I more comfortable with? Right? Moving to 7 or 11? In my mind, because I still want to be in the range to get a blue chip player, 7 would make me more comfortable.
I got you. I guess my idea is this team could use probably a dozen players that are going to be available at 11.
I think they're both plausible, right? I think both of these ideas are plausible. And I think it speaks to yours and our levels of comfort with Mason Graham being that blue chip guy. I'm very much on board with that more on board with it than you seem to be.
I'm more on board with taking a defensive tackle who plays the nose and getting him a lot cheaper and spending that top premium pick on another position.
And that's fair. I look at Mason Graham as the blue chip interior defensive lineman in this draft class. Not that I wouldn't be okay with a bunch of other defensive linemen in this draft class, but if I still have a shot at him, I'd be very happy if that's the name that's called.
Yeah, no, I understand that, but like, if I could, like, if there were anywhere in the world, you have to start doing the math on, okay, we're at 5. We move back to 11. Okay. Genty's going to be gone. Let's assume Campbell's gone. Armand Membo's gone. Like, who would we, in a worst case scenario?
Who do we not want to
all
risk?
comes off the board in the worst case scenario. Who's left at that spot?
Yeah.
I don't know. Will Johnson might be one of those guys. He still didn't run at the Michigan Pro Day. Who knows where he's going to go at this point. By the way, Mason Graham gained 10 pounds since the combine last Friday as well, as he weighed in at 306.
Yeah.
You can't trust any numbers at this time of year, it feels like, Tone. All right, let's wrap it up for us and say hello to Helmets and Heels.
Now, the 2-minute drill. Serviced by Cool Cats Heating and Cooling. Locally owned and operated. We're your neighbors. CoolCatsJacks.com.
The coolest cats in town.
Warren Brooks, good morning.
Who hasn't gained 10 pounds since the combine?
Right, I guess, right? That's a good way of looking at it. You can do that in your sleep. But it is always fun. Hey, like, oh, this guy ran what? What did he run? Did Mason Graham even do that much at the combine in terms of working out?
No.
I don't think he did, right?
I thought he just bench pressed.
Yeah.
Right, so what would be the advantage of being 296 at the combine? Like, I mean, I know my weight can fluctuate. I would assume athletes training for the NFL drafts, weights are not going to fluctuate that greatly in that short amount of time. But
maybe he wasn't lifting. Who knows?
Who knows, right? But
so the only thing he did was lift.
It was weird. It was weird, though, that he was listed at 326 and he turned up 30 pounds light. I mean, 30 pounds is a big, like, oh, wait a minute. Hold on now. And so he's creeping back up towards that level. Anyhow, what you getting into today?
Well, a certain basketball team, you may have watched the game, you may not have. Yeah, sure. They came in clutch yesterday beating UConn, so I'm, of course, talking about Florida. But, yeah, we're going to talk to Zach Albaverdi at 12:20. He was at the game, and certainly I think it was very tense, so we'll talk about that. And, Mike, I'm sorry for the loss of St. John's.
Yeah, I told Tony last Monday, I came in, I said, only thing I feel about this bracket is Arkansas is going to get to the Sweet 16 by knocking out St. John's. And then, of course, I pick St. John's to go on in my bracket because I'm going to pick what I want to root for, you know? Yeah. But I'm not surprised at all. I told you, terrible offensive team, can't shoot the ball. And that's not going to go far in the NCAA tournament.
No, it's not. So, yeah, we'll talk basketball. We'll talk some football as well. Jameis Winston, like y'all mentioned, to the Giants. So what does that do as far as the draft's concerned? And, yeah, Nothing really, yeah. I'm just happy that that my team won.
Because he signed for like 1 year, $4 million or
2 years.
Two for 8.
Yeah.
Same difference, you know?
Yeah.
Probably end up being like a 1 year, $5 million deal. They're still saying they might still sign Russell Wilson up there on top of it. What a weird kind of thing. But hey, I guess you got to fill out a quarterback depth chart.
That's right. And Jameis is a fun guy to listen to. So anytime there's Jameis news, we like to play Jameis.
There's been a lot of Jameis memory holing of his whole background. You know what I mean? Like, Jameis is this fun-loving guy. He's that, who doesn't like Jameis? I don't know. I imagine there's some
fan bases,
females that don't like Jameis. I'm thinking, probably a Publix or two.
I was going to say stores trying to get their money for crabs.
Supposedly his friend had let him have the free seafood in the past, and there was a misunderstanding of what he says now. I saw something funny. Y'all probably saw it on Twitter, or X. Travis Hunter is a perfect fit to the Giants now because on Jameis's good passes, he can play receiver. On Jameis's bad passes, he can play corner.
That's good. That's actually pretty good. Prisco's first mock out this morning, Travis Hunter to the Jags.
I think that's the only move that could maybe change the perception of how the Jaguars will be this upcoming season. Like, I don't think...
My man's already got a National Dick's Sporting Goods commercial.
He does.
Yeah.
So...
I just don't think that a Mason Graham necessarily changes that much about where the Jaguars will be perceived for 2025.
That doesn't mean Mason Graham would be a bad pick in any way,
absolutely.
shape, or form.
Just perception.
There's a little bit of, all right, next. Because it's like, all right. I mean, Travis Hunter's got the juice. That doesn't mean he's the right choice, but, that's up to Gladstone, Cohen, and Baselli to figure out. So,
is he intangibly rich?
Well, can we agree?
We know he's rich.
Can we agree that Kyron Lacey is not the LSU wide receiver who's charged with negligent homicide? Because I saw yet another mock this weekend have him going to the Jags.
Wow. Yeah.
In the fourth round, in any round, they're not taking a guy who's been charged with negligent homicide.
It's going to be interesting to see who does take him. Because
someone will roll the dice on him.
But certain teams are already dealing with stuff like that. Right?
Sure. Look, we said at the time, now he wasn't charged. Lyle Collins I would have taken him in the 7th round all day. And if he turned out he was guilty or involved in that murder, cut him the next day and no fault held over. And no one took that chance on him.
Like his agent was putting out all the no one drafted him. No one drafted him. Like when it got past into day 3, his agent was trying to push.
I would have been like, too bad. You're playing here, or you can sit out the next year and have all this hanging over your head for the next year on top
what
of
else are we going to get out of the 7th round?
Who cares? We're cutting that guy anyway. All right. Warren, have a great show.
Thank you so much, gentlemen.
All right. Dylan Denmark, glad you're back. Safe from Vegas, baby. Flush with some dollars in your pocket.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Did not get arrested.
Tuesday top 5. Dylan and I, you were out of the room, Tony. We're thinking 5 guys you'd like to see end up on the Jags somewhere after the first round. Could be 5 guys that your top 5 targets at 36. Could be, I like this guy in the 2nd, this guy in the 3rd, this guy in the 4th. Could be anything you like. So I think we're going to do that for the Tuesday top 5. That'll do it for us. For Tony, Dylan, I'm Mike Dempsey. Thanks for listening. Jaguars Today back tomorrow from 10 to noon on 1010XL and 92.5.